not every story fades with time. Some linger in the dark, waiting to be told. This is True Crime Whispers. And tonight, we'll whisper the story of Amy Lynn Bradley, a young woman who boarded a cruise ship with her family and was never seen again. It was March 21st, 1998. The Rhapsody of the Seas, a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, was making its way across the Caribbean Sea, gliding gently toward the island of Curacao. On board were more than 2,000 passengers. Among them, 23-year-old Amy Lynn Bradley, on a family holiday with her parents, Ron and Iva, and her younger brother, Brad. Amy had recently graduated from college. She'd played basketball. She loved music. She was preparing to start a new job as a computer trainer. This cruise was meant to be a celebration, a chance to relax, to mark the end of one chapter and the start of another. But somewhere between midnight and morning, Amy disappeared. From the outside, Amy seemed like any bright, adventurous young woman. But those who knew her best described her as cautious, strong-willed, someone who paid close attention to her surroundings, especially in unfamiliar places. She was independent, but not reckless, and she'd told her parents more than once that she felt uneasy around certain members of the ship's crew. Some had been watching her too closely. One crew member, in particular, a guitarist from the ship's band, had danced with her at the nightclub that night, and he would appear again the following morning under circumstances that would leave the Bradleys unsettled. March 20th began like any other day on the cruise. Sunshine, pools, drinks on deck. The Bradley family spent the day enjoying the warm weather and good company. That night, they attended a dinner, a stage show, and had their photos taken by the ship's staff. Amy was smiling in everyone. Later, the family visited the ship's nightclub. Amy danced with fellow guests and several members of the onboard band, Blue Orchid. Brad left before her, but Amy stayed a while longer, dancing into the early hours. A passenger later reported seeing Amy dancing with the guitarist at around 3:30 a.m. By 4:15. She had returned to the cabin quietly. Brad was asleep. Their parents were still resting. Just before dawn, at around 5:30 a.m., Brad briefly woke up. He saw Amy sitting on the balcony, cigarette in hand, watching the sea roll by. He went back to sleep, thinking she'd be back in bed by morning. She wasn't. At 6 a.m., Amy was gone. Her shoes were still in the cabin. Her lighter, cigarettes, wallet, all untouched. But Amy had vanished. Her family acted quickly. They searched the deck, checked the corridors, and when they couldn't find her, they went straight to the ship's crew. But there was no lockdown, no emergency call. Passengers were still allowed to disembark. The ship docked in Curacao around 8 a.m., and by the time security began searching properly, hundreds of people had already left the vessel. What bothered Amy's family even more was the lack of urgency. This wasn't just a late sleeper. This wasn't someone off exploring without telling anyone. Amy had spoken about feeling uncomfortable with certain crew members. She was a lifeguard. She would not have leaned over the rail. And yet, she was gone. And then came the first strange twist. The photos taken of Amy the previous night, the ones from the crew's photographer's gallery, were missing the next morning. Photos that had been on display had been removed, and then came another chilling moment. While the family sat down for breakfast, shaken, tired, and frightened, the guitarist from Blue Orchid, the man who had danced with Amy just hours before, approached their table. He asked where Amy was. He smiled. He lingered. Ron Bradley would later say that the man's behavior felt rehearsed, invasive, almost as if he were checking to see what the family knew. Despite Amy being a U.S. citizen, the ship's location in international waters made the investigation more complicated. Royal Caribbean conducted an internal search. They reported no findings, no suspicious activity. No one saw her fall, and no alarms were raised. But critical areas of the ship were never covered by security cameras, and the footage that was available showed nothing helpful. No video of Amy leaving the room, no signs of a struggle, no exit caught on camera. And yet, the sightings began. One taxi driver claimed a distressed young woman had approached him in Curaçao, asking for help. He later said it was definitely Amy. A Canadian tourist said she saw a woman matching Amy's description at a hotel on the island, being closely watched by men. And then there was the U.S. Navy officer on shore leave in 1999. He visited a brothel and met a woman who grabbed his arm and whispered, "My name is Amy Bradley. Please help me." But before he could act, she was pulled away. Years later, in 2005, a disturbing photograph appeared on an adult website. It showed a woman lying on a bed in lingerie. The woman resembled Amy so strongly that the FBI analyzed the image. Amy's family believed it was her. They said the eyes, the mouth, the tension in her body matched their daughter perfectly. The FBI never confirmed a definitive match, but the image has haunted the case ever since. Her family believes Amy was trafficked, that she was targeted on board the ship, possibly drugged or lured away, and that someone knew she wasn't just a tourist, but a vulnerable young woman with no way to escape once the ship docked. They believe she was watched, chosen, taken. Over the years, Amy's case has become one of the most chilling unsolved cruise ship disappearances in history. Her parents, Ron and Iva, have worked tirelessly to keep her memory alive. They've appeared on America's Most Wanted, Dr. Phil, and countless true crime programs. They've distributed posters, hired private investigators, begged for answers. They've never stopped looking. The FBI has offered a $25,000 reward for information. Interpol has circulated her file globally. But to this day, no verified trace of Amy Lynn Bradley has been found. In 1998, Amy boarded Rhapsody of the Seas with her family. She danced. She laughed. She watched the sunrise from the balcony. And then she disappeared into silence, into shadows, into the unanswerable spaces between memory and mystery. There's no grave, no goodbye, only questions. And a photo, the one they still use in missing posters, where she's smiling, young, and unaware that this would be the last image the world would ever have of her. The night keeps its secrets, but will keep whispering them, one story at a time. You've been listening to True Crime Whispers. Good night.